So the first question I'm just going to ask is for you to tell me a little bit about yourself, like if you have any prior background in retail, why you chose retail, things like that.
So I graduated at Philadelphia University about 5 years ago, and my major was fashion merchandising and management. I had my first retail job when I was in college. My end of my freshman year of college, I worked for a shoe company called Easy Spirit, and did that for like summers. And then when I officially moved to the Philadelphia area, I got my job with Talbots and worked part-time at the store in King of Prussia. So I've always been kind of geared towards retail. I love fashion. I've always loved fashion. And kind of when I was in high school, was like, oh, what should I do with my career, with my life? And I loved thrifting. I loved putting outfits together, doing things like that. And my mom was like, you know, you can make a career out of that. And I was like, oh, okay, let's do that. So that's how I got into retail.
Then I would ask, what made you choose to work for Talbot specifically?
So specifically, initially it was kind of the store that was closest to me and would work around my school schedule. Mm-hmm. So I honestly did not know much about Talbots when I applied for it. I kind of just went on job searches, found who was looking for people, for part-time, for key holder positions, and they popped up, and I was like, okay, let's try it. So I researched the company a bit beforehand once I got the interview, because I wanted to not just go in blindly to the company. And I was kind of like intrigued, and it seemed like a very similar client base to what I had when I was working in Easy Spirit. Like, it definitely seemed like a more established woman, a little bit more of a career woman, like a similar kind of clientele, a similar like modern classic feel where they had their like staples, but then they also have their fun fashion things and kind of gearing towards a younger audience while maintaining their like standards of like the staples they're known for. And then when I got there and I got hired, I enjoyed the environment a lot. I enjoyed the creative freedoms I got. The team that I worked with was really great, and it really showed me like a good step into the retail world and kind of being like, oh, it's not just working at a department store, you're standing behind a cash register, ring, ring, ring. Like, I can actually do things and be creative.
Can you describe what you do on a day-to-day basis?
So on a day-to-day basis, I do a lot. So as you've kind of seen, it's very much the ops role goes through a cycle. So it's like a month-long cycle, and it just consistently flows in a circle. So I do everything from the beginning of the month. I'll start doing shipment and replenishment, putting new items up on the floor, doing any damages, any items that we get returned that we don't carry in store, sending those back out, just kind of housekeeping things. As the store set gets closer to the month, I map out where everything for the new collection is going to go in the store, continue to do shipment, do markdowns and move items around in the store, do what we call remerchandising, which is where we take all the items, and if they are selling through, we move them around and take any items that aren't really selling and try to make them more focal to see if they'll sell then. And then once store set happens, I'm very gung-ho in full store set mode of putting out all the new items, taking out all the markdowns, moving everything around the store, doing visuals, uppers, mannequins, windows, everything like that. And then once that's over, it starts back all over again, back with shipment, back with replenishment, and continues on.
What is the most important lesson you have learned while you were working at Talbots?
I think the most important lesson that I've learned is really working as a team and how to work as a team very efficiently. Because coming from my prior retail experience, it wasn't nearly as much product, there wasn't nearly as much to do. So it was kind of like we worked as a team, but it was more selling based than operational based. and bless you.
Thank you.
And coming here, I really like how Talbots is kind of a triangle setup where they have the store manager who kind of helps manage and oversee everything, the sales manager who does the clients and the selling culture. Bless you.
Thank you.
And then the operational manager who's in charge of product and all the other behind the scenes things. So really working as like a good triangle group and communicating with my team and communicating with everyone and just supporting each other, I think is what I've really learned and what I really enjoy about Talbots, because I've really learned to work and coordinate as a team. So.
What's the most difficult conflict you have been able to solve while working here?
Ooh. I think, gosh, I'm trying to think like back to difficult conflicts, because I mean honestly I haven't had that many, which is good.
That's good. Yeah.
I really haven't had too many difficult conflicts. I think the only like difficult conflict I really had is when sometimes it just gets overwhelming with doing store set and trying to get everything done because our payroll has been cut. We might not have the staffing on that day to work with what I need to get done. I might be pulled to the floor and not be able to have that time off. But kind of how that's resolved is really just talking with the store manager, talking with the team, talking with the other managers, saying, hey, I really need to prioritize this day. I need to get this done. Are you guys able to support me? And them being like, yes, we can, or like, we will try. So I think that's the main conflict, and that's not so much a conflict of people, but a conflict of just trying to time manage and work around the parameters of payroll and people. And that's something that I feel like everyone kind of struggles through, but really just making sure that I communicate to Jen, our store manager, and to Carol, our sales manager, of what I need to get done, what my priorities are, and how they can support me, and vice versa, how I can support them.
What is your favorite part about your position?
My favorite part is honestly doing like all the visuals, and doing like honestly like the tables and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I do enjoy putting out the new product. I enjoy making it look fresh. It's that instant gratification of it looks new, it looks refreshed, it looks done. So I do really enjoy when I can get those moments where I can really focus on detailing things, like adding scarves and shoes and handbags to a table or a wall or a fixture. I really do enjoy that because that's just fun, like creativity at that point. Like that's just being creative. That's not having to drudge things out of boxes or anything like that.
Can you think of any major changes that happened since you started working here and how it impacted you?
So I think the biggest change, I mean, with COVID, everything has changed.
Yeah.
The biggest thing around my role in particular that has changed is we used to do floor sets overnight. So I used to come in at like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon and work till about like 11 o'clock midnight. And we would do that like Thursday through Sunday, and then store sets done Monday. Now we have pivoted because of payroll and because of COVID and everything to try and preserve ourselves and not have to, furlough too many people, not have to lay off too many people, which I think the company did very well within the parameters that they were given. But we now do what we call rolling floor sets, and we do them during operating hours. So I come in for my normal 9 to 5:30 or 11 to 7:30, and that's when I have time to do floor set. And it's been a little bit, I think that's also been a little bit of a challenge, just trying to figure that out and figure out working around us being open, having customers getting pulled away to the register, having to cover breaks. It's not my solid 8 hours of floor set anymore, or at least solid like 5 hours without any customers in the store. It's now working with the customers in the store, working around them. So that's the thing that I think that's changed the most and has been also a bit of a challenge, but that really, it's been about 3 years now, so I've kind of got a routine down, but it's still sometimes a challenge.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then my last question for you is, do you have any advice for anyone hoping to be in a position like yours?
My advice would be, I'd say, get as much experience as you can. Figure out what your passion is. So, like, get exposed to as much and as many different types of things as you can. Don't be afraid to be hands-on. Don't be afraid to be active and creative. And network. So, yeah. I wasn't the best networker, but it really does help because especially getting into Talbots, everyone has been here for like a minimum of like 10 years. Like people have been here for forever. Like I've been here 5 years and I'm considered new. Yeah. So I'd say definitely network. Everyone knows everyone. Definitely work your connections and just be creative and try everything out and find what your niche is. Yeah.
Well, that's all the questions I had for you today. So I would just say thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Of course, no problem.